2019. It was a beautiful Thursday, 12 p.m. My phone rang. I looked at the ID, the caller ID, and it showed unavailable. For many who know me, I pick up all the calls. I always tell my husband, you never know who is calling you. And so I picked up this call, and it was my friend Mary, my childhood girlfriend. Mary and I grew up together, and we never talked on the phone. Who does anyway? We texted, we WhatsApped, we inboxed, just like you all do. And so when I picked up the phone, she went on, how is your family? I asked, how are the girls? He has 2 daughters. And before long, she was quiet. And I was like, what's going on? And she told me, Purity, Mom asked me to call you to tell you that Dad has rested. Rested. Dad has rested. Whew. What was that? I didn't know how to behave. I knew what she meant, and I hung up. I was in my office seated, and as I continued to sit, tears, warm tears, flowed from my eyes. Before long, a cry from the deepest part of me in there that I didn't know existed came out. And I wailed so loud, it must have startled all my colleagues. You see, I had never not had a father in my life. My dad was not just a father. He was the best. He was my best friend. He is the man that validated me in so many ways. He's the man that believed in me in so many ways. And now, he is gone. How? I had talked to him 2 days before. He was ill in the hospital, but he was getting much, much better. And so actually my mother had made a decision not to take him home, even though he had been discharged, because she didn't want to have to take him back, because he didn't breathe very well. And she called and said, what do you think? And I said, you know what? Just let him stay an extra day. And so part of me knew that Dad was getting better. But now he is gone. How do you deal with that? He was gone. As I continued to sit in the office, wailing, my colleagues didn't know what to do with me. Bintu, 24-year-old lady, she has a heritage of Africa. Some of my colleagues went to get her, probably to come and deal with this African. I thank God for the privacy and the boundaries that the Americans keep. But Bintu was like, hey, you want to go to the toilet? I was like, let's go. And so I went there, and in there, I was like, I just cried. And after a while, my colleague Julius came to take me home. And on our way home, I would sob uncontrollably, and then I would say, Julius, imagine Dad is gone. And Julius knew my dad so well. I tried to call my children, gave them the message. I called my husband. And as we drove home, all I could see, Dad is gone. And when we got into my house, as I opened the door, right in front of me was Dad's favorite recliner. On this day, it seemed bigger than usual. It seemed darker than usual. It was ugly, because what made that recliner beautiful was the man that sat there for nearly a year. The man that sat on that recliner was a handsome man with gray hair, my dad. And every time he sat there, he would crank the thing that goes up, and he would spread his legs out, and I would go and massage him with milking salve. For all you know who the milking salve? Yes, that milking salve. I would massage his feet, cut his toenails, and polish his toenail with clear nail polish. And he would say things like, I don't need this color, but keep going on, because he really enjoyed that massage. You see, what had happened is Dad had been diagnosed with cancer, stage 3 esophagus cancer. And it was aggressive. And the doctors at some point, they were hopeful, but then complications from radiation and chemo came in. And I remember the doctors had said, with this kind of cancer, we need to do surgery. And for Dad, with a heart issue, they couldn't do surgery. And I remember when we went to the hospital and they said that they could do surgery, but it was very risky. And for me, because I really wanted Dad to leave, I was, Dad, can you just have this surgery? And I remember we were there with my mom, urging him to have this surgery so that he could leave. And Dad was like, you that needs to have the surgery, just be done the surgery. And I remember us driving home, and I told him, Dad, if I had a knife right now, I would do the surgery myself. You see, my dad was such a loving man. When I was growing up, he used to come home in the middle of the night. He was a driver for Kenya Commercial Bank for more than 30 years. And so he was a driver, and he would be told to take something to Nanyuki or Odhaya, and he would sneak in, come, wake us up, and have us eat with him in the middle of the night. And he didn't care that we had school the following day. He just wanted us to sit there and eat with him. That was the man that had rested. And then sometimes he would just come home during the end of the month, once a month, and he would bring the long loaf. And I remember my mother would be like, you have to wait until morning. And my dad was like, no, they can eat now. And, I loved those moments. That was my dad that had now rested. I remember when I was about 9 years old, and there was a family feud about land. And there was a clan meeting, a clan of elders, the Anjiro clan. We don't play. And they came and they were in a meeting, and I wanted to sit with my dad, and I didn't know how important and how revered this kind of a meeting was, and I just went and sat with him, and the old men were like, what is she doing here? She needs to go. And I remember my dad saying, no, she will stay. She needs to stay. Woo, let me tell you what that did to me. I didn't care what they were discussing. I needed to stay, and I stayed just to be close to him. And he was gone. When I did Saturday 7, I had chosen Alliance, Gandu. I didn't make it to Alliance or Gandu. 22 points, which was good to me. My brother got 36. 22 was okay. And so I was admitted at Magumu High School in South Kinago, the coldest place on earth. That's what I thought. The coldest place, Magumu. And when Dad took me there, as we got out of the matatu, and as he saw me being settled in the school, he looked at me and said, my daughter, you won't survive this place. I personally will make sure you are out of this place, but just stay a little bit so that your mother doesn't kill me when I go home. But we will have to get you out of Magumu. And true to God, he got me out of Magumu to Mahiga Girls. Then I finished high school, and I went to college. And he took me to Garissa, NEP Technical, Northeastern Province Technical College. And for 12 hours, we were in the bus. And as we went on this bus, my dad kept saying, what if the shifters came and killed us in this place? But you see, for me, shifters, I didn't even care. I was with my father, and he was my protection. No shifter could mess with us. And as we got to Garissa, I was just looking at the young boys, Somali handsome boys in Garissa. And Dad was like, I am bringing you here to get a good education Because out of here, I want you to have a good education so that you can go to America. I didn't even know where America was. I didn't care for America. I was in the moment that dad, of all the people, I was with my dad. And he was gone. And so, as people started coming into my house and making all these arrangements for me to go home and lay him to rest, I remember as people made plans for me and they came to console us, every evening I would walk by his room and I would look at the room that he lived in for a year, and it was empty. And it was so hard for me because my father, not only had he been my best friend, but he had the ability to adopt my friends to be their father. When the doctors told me how bad his cancer was, I knew. It's like I knew from the deep inside that we didn't have him for so long. And so what I did, I started recording our moments together. And I would go on Facebook Live with him, and people would actually request songs from us. And let me tell you, people started gravitating to the father that they never had, my dad. Because what they saw, the relationship between I and him, was so inviting that some of my friends just came from other states to come and just be with us. And we would sing on Facebook Live, and dad would call his friend and tell them, hey, you know what? We're now on TV. Because he didn't understand the whole Facebook thing. He would be asking me, you know, because when we would go on Facebook Live, my cousins in Kenya would watch, and he would be like, they can see us on this TV. Oh my goodness, moments that we spent together. One of the things that I really, really treasured, it was not just the spending of our time together, but he made it known to us that he loved us. There was no conversation that ended without him telling me that he loved me. He became a father to my husband. And I even used to accuse him of loving my husband even more. Let me tell you how great he was. He wouldn't go to sleep. When I and my husband, we went out on a date night, came back at 1 a.m., he was waiting for us. He wouldn't go to sleep until we came back home. And he was gone. How? You see, as we laid him to rest, and people came and said a lot of great things, I was just enjoying every moment that we ever spent together. When all is said and done, I treasure the memories. Like the first time he took me shopping for a pair of shoes at Bata Shoe Store by the Hilton. Before that, he actually used to bring home a piece of paper and he would trace our feet because he didn't know what size of shoe we wore. But this particular time, we were shopping with him. Memories. As I continue in my life to reflect upon the memories that we shared, great memories of the small, the great things, I reflect on the things that he told me, the counsel that he gave me. Like the time he just told me purity. You don't have to lie to me that your friend in Migori has lost their mother. Just tell me you're going out on a date. Don't kill your friend's dads. You know? Don't kill your friend's parents. You are now a young adult. A conversation that many girls didn't get privileged to share. He enabled me to be myself. And now he was gone. When all is said and done, the memories that we shared, the memories that you share with your loved ones, the things that you do, the small things that you don't probably think are very important, when you are gone, those are the things that people will remember the most. The massages that I gave my dad, I remember those the most. Not the things that he even bought me, and those things were great, but the memories that we shared. And maybe, just maybe, my children will be able to say, man, our mama shared great moments with us. And I'll be able to tell my grandchildren that my father shared great moments. Because this moment right here, it's so priceless. As I continue to reflect on the life that I shared with my father, I enjoy those memories. Thank you so much.